Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God, and I'm doing the fourth part of our video series about overwhelmed mom. I haven't done one in a little bit because we've had sickness in the house and we've been focusing on that, but the idea of this series is a lot of times we as moms will sin against our children. That's what I'm talking about in these videos. It can apply to your husband, your friends, and all of that stuff too, but I'm specifically talking about our children. Or about our children. There are times that we can sin against our children and we kind of excuse it off as I'm too overwhelmed or the kids overwhelm me. And the thing is, the Bible talks about children being a blessing, and we should always see them as that, not a burden. Our children are not taking us away from the most important things in our lives. Our children are our most important ministry in our lives, and we need to be focused on them. So this series is to give ideas of things that might be overwhelming to us that are causing us to let out our anger, our frustrations, our impatience, our unkindness, all those different things on our children. And we use them as the excuse of why we're doing it. But really, it's something sinful within our heart that we are allowing to spew out of us. And there are things that we can do to embrace the chaos of a busy household. There are things we can do to minimize the chaos of our busy household. And there are things that we can do to just help support ourselves so that we don't get into that, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm blaming my children for it. So the first part of the video, well, first I did like a overview of what I was going to be talking about. I did one about physical needs of mama and sometimes physical needs of the children. But if you are overtired or if you are very hungry, it can actually cause problems within your body that cause you to be stressed. And stress can be good and stress can be bad, but stress affects your body anyway. So like I'm 20 weeks pregnant as we do this video. At the end of pregnancy, when you're just kind of like any day could be it, I'm trying to figure out what to do, make meals, all of those things, and you get really stressed. It's not a bad kind of stress. God gives you things to do to keep yourself busy and to get your household ready for the new baby. But it is stress. It's an excitement. It's something that causes your body's cortisol levels to go up that can be really, really hard on your system. And hunger and tiredness can do those things too. So the first video I talk about how you can I give suggestions on how you can make sure that you're getting the time to rest and the time to eat or to eat the right things. Second one I talked about was social media and how seeing things outside of our house can make us feel overwhelmed with the house we live in. Maybe it's because our house isn't as clean as their house, our children aren't as good as their children, our husband isn't doing what that husband's doing. There's lots of different things, but social media can direct our attention outside of our own household and make us covet someone else's household, which is wrong. Coveting is wrong. Envy, those types of things. To want something that someone else has and be able, like, excuse your sin for wanting that other person's stuff. We were talking about coveting this morning, but social media is very easy to get wrapped up in. It's also very easy to spend so much time on social media that if your kids pull you away from it, you feel that they're burdening you instead of realizing that the burden is like they are not the burden. They're the blessing you're supposed to be taking care of. And social media might be the burden in your life that you're not realizing. The next one I talked about was children craving attention and how to lean into those times when your children need extra attention. Maybe it's they're sick. Maybe it's a growth spurt. Maybe it's those teenage years where they have those new hormones going through and they're trying to figure out what that means. Maybe it's a spiritual battle that they're dealing with. Any of those things can make our children need our attention. And as a mom, it can sometimes seem that they are like doing it in a bad way, trying to get our attention. Maybe they're even trying to get our attention by doing bad things, but embracing their need for our attention and how, just some suggestions on how to make sure that they're feeling your, that you're actually paying attention to them instead of other things. So this one that I want to talk about is about your house. And so we all have a house, whether it's an apartment or a trailer, a camper. Like maybe you live in a trailer, maybe you live in a camper. We lived in an RV for a little while, like stayed in an RV for a little while. Maybe you have a huge house with lots of stuff. There's all different ways that people can be in their living situation. But sometimes our living situation, our house and our things can be what is overwhelming us, and we let it get out on our kids. So, some ways, some solutions to this problem. Number one is to lower your expectations. And I know that can be really hard, especially if you're a type A personality where I want all the boxes checked. I want all the things, white glove test on the top of the mantle. I don't even have a mantle, but if you come over, don't do the white glove test on it because it won't pass. The more kids I've had, the more I've realized that I need to keep a clean house. I need to make sure that my children are not suffering health-wise because of the state of my house. But I also need to realize that my children live here too. And so there's going to be more mess than I would make as an adult because there's more of us living here and people who don't know how to put stuff away. I'll get into having them put their stuff away later. But we have a large range of children in our house. If you haven't been here before, it's myself and my husband, and we have 7 kids at home, ranging in age from 16 to 2. We also have a baby on the way, but that one's not making a mess yet. But there's just more stuff. There's things you need to have because there's a difference between having 2 people's worth of clothing and 9 people's worth of clothing in a house. So lower your expectations on how minimized you can be. But also lower your expectations because your children live in the house also, and they need to learn how to take care of a house. And so while you may want to have that white glove test that I was talking about to make sure you don't have dust on your mantle, your children are living here, playing here. We don't live in a museum. We live in a house. And so allowing them to make messes, to experience life, and to learn to actually clean up those messes and do things themselves, which means that the floor is not going to be perfectly swept. It means that you might have streaks after mopping if you mop. If you are like me, you get a rag on the floor every once in a while. We actually just bought a mop recently because Josiah, our 11-year-old, really, really loves to sweep. So I got a mop too so that he could mop because it's something that he enjoys doing. But there's going to be streaks on the floor and there's going to be messes, and it's okay. Kids are going to spill their juice. Toys are going to be left out because a child, even if they've been told to pick up their toys, pick up this toy before you get another one out, children are going to forget, or children are just going to be disobedient, either way. But instead of sinning against them and screaming at them, using it as a teaching moment. So, lowering your expectations. What I expected when I first got married. So Mark and I got married when I was 20. No, I was 19. And we had Virginia when I was 20. I got pregnant just months after the wedding. So we had a baby by our first anniversary. And there were things that I could do as a newlywed wife to make the house look as good as I could. We lived in a very, very rundown trailer at the time, so you could only make it look so nice. But there were things I could do, and then morning sickness hit, and I was super sick with Virginia. And so not all that stuff happened. But still, I didn't have a baby to clean up after. I had a 7-year-old in the house, Nathaniel, who's my stepson. He was with us full time, and he, he's 7, he can pick up after himself and things, but there were still things that had to be done by me, and they weren't getting done. They were getting done to the best of my ability. Then a baby comes along, and I'm nursing, and I'm trying to get Nathaniel to his events, and I'm trying to be the wife that I need to be, and I'm trying to do the things at church and all of those, and life got very, very overwhelming. And I needed to realize that as a single person, or a married person with no children, I could keep the house a certain way, or with no baby. But once that baby came along, it was harder to do. And then the baby actually gets a little bigger and pulls out toys and pulls stuff off the shelf, and things get a little more crazy. So lowering the expectations. Another solution is to minimize. And I just said that a house with 9 people is going to have more stuff than a house with 2 people. So I get stuck in this trap sometimes that I feel like I should be able to get rid of more stuff. But while I sit here on this seat in my room, I can see that we have a big bookcase in our room, and the bottom half of it is clothes for the three of us that share this room. The baby still sleeps with us, so the 2-year-old. So that has his stuff. And then there's 2 shelves on it full of diaper needs, because I have different kids who need diapers at different times for different reasons. And so I have 2 shelves of that, and it's stuff that I can't get rid of. I need to have that. Sometimes we have less diapers on the shelf because I haven't bought them recently, but it's stuff that is just necessary for our family. I can't reduce that anymore. I'm also looking at a little side table next to my bed, which has my prenatal vitamins on it so that I remember to take them. But it also has a lot of paper and clutter and stuff on it that I can get rid of. So minimize the things you can minimize. I think we all realize that we probably have more towels and washcloths than we need. I don't know what that number is for your family, because if you bathe every day and get a new washcloth and towel, and then you can only do laundry once a week, that's going to look different than somebody who bathes once a week and does their laundry every day. It's going to look different, so I'm not going to give a number. But what is the number of things that you need to keep? Right now in our household, everybody has 1 pair of shoes. A couple people have a second pair for various reasons. But their second, like most of the people's second pair are actually shoes that they've had rip seams or something like that, which is kind of the backup in case the shoes that they wear every day break and I need a day or 2 till I can get to the store. Or the shoe's wet, so they need to wear something while they go out and play. They're not meant to be, these are the new shoes they're gonna wear. I have the hiccups, excuse me. But for us, that works because the kids are more conscious of where they put their shoes because they only have 1 pair. So when they come in, their shoes go on the 1 spot that we have for their shoes. We have a shoe shelf in the entryway. And I'm not going and searching for people's shoes because they haven't become, because they only have 1 pair, they take good care of them, I guess is what I'm saying. When you have less of things, you have less things you have to move around, less things you have to organize, and it tends to make you more responsible for the things that you do have. So I'm not saying take your kids down to 1 set of clothes, but maybe for your household, 5 sets of clothes is enough because you can wash laundry every day. When we were staying in our RV, I had laundry at the laundromat, so I could only do it once a week. So some kids had to get more clothes because if you're in the middle of a potty training time with a toddler and you only have laundry once a week, you need to have more changes. And so I can't tell you what that looks like for you, but think through areas of your house that might seem overwhelming to you. Like I said, maybe it's when you open the bathroom cupboard and the towels all fall out on top of you. Maybe it's going into your shower and seeing the amount of health and beauty products you have in your shower and you're just like, oh, I need to get rid of that. I know that we don't use much for health and beauty products, but I know that there's times where that bottle of shampoo got emptied and we brought another one in and we never took out the other one. How many sets of clothes do you need? How many pairs of shoes do you need? And it's going to look different for everybody, but look what is really feasible in your household. And maybe there's things that you do need to have some spares in your home. Like let's say shoes. Let's say you need some more shoes because it's hard to find the shoes that fit. We have a couple disabilities, so I understand needing to find something that fits on a brace or whatever. But maybe that extra pair can stay in the back of a closet instead of on the shoe shelf where it keeps falling off, a pair that they don't typically wear. Getting rid of craft supplies, which I know is hard, especially if you're a homeschool mom letting your kids do those things. But sometimes, opening that craft cupboard, opening the game cupboard, whatever it is, make sure you're keeping the things that your family loves and uses, but not keeping things just because they were given to you or just because they're available. Minimize helps you get through things. Next one, start small. When you have one of these projects that is just, this section of the house is overwhelming me. Every time I go to put away my daughter's clothes, I can't get them in the drawer and this is overwhelming. Okay, so if that's the thing that you can feel is overwhelming you, which is what you're now taking out on your kids, because it's very easy to then talk to that child and be like, why can't you keep that stuff in there? And maybe it's just there's not enough room. So start small. Set a timer. 5 or 10 minutes a day. So let's say it's the clothing issue. Go into your daughter's thing and pull out some clothes. Let's say I'm going to take out her shirts for today. This will make it still be a small project. I'm going to take out all her shirts and I'm going to throw away anything that either she hasn't worn or she, has holes in it. I don't want her to wear anymore because I know those clothes are in your kid's closet. Well, they're in my kid's closet at least, where there's something that they will grab that is not the thing that I want them wearing because it has a hole or it's too small or whatever. Go through just the shirts on one day. Or pull out stuff, set a 5-minute timer and say when the timer goes off, I'm putting it back. But start small. And if you do that every day, at the end of the week, you will have worked 35 minutes on the project, and 35 minutes is a lot of time to get things done. Just set the kids up with a small activity at the table. Snack is always a good thing to get 5 or 10 minutes of time. And do those things. Maybe it's even involving your kids to go with you on that project. Next thing, have a 4-box system if you're going through your house trying to declutter. So a box to donate, a box of trash, a box to keep, and a box for maybe later. So I always have a donation box somewhere in my house. For right now, this time of year, it works great for me because I have like a 3 seasons porch that we don't use on a daily basis, but it's dry and insulated enough that I can use it to put our donation box. And if somebody grows out of that pair of pants, go put it in the donation box. Or we have people who give us things from church and it's wonderful. So thank you if you're watching my channel and you give us things from church. But sometimes they give us things that just aren't the right thing for our family. And I always ask them when they give them, are you willing, do you need this back or do you want me to donate it on to someone else? And so we bring it home. I can't say I do this consistently because we were given stuff right before we got sick and I never got through those bags. They're out on the porch just waiting for me to go through. But usually I try to go through them the day or the day after I get them. And there are things in the bag that I know when I pick them up, nope, I don't even look at the size. Maybe it's the wrong color. Maybe it's the wrong, fabric because wool can bother people or whatever. Maybe I don't even give it a second glance. Nope, that's not gonna work. Nope, that's not gonna work. Put it right in the donation box. And then when the donation box gets full, or I happen to be in town sometime, put it in the car, take it to Goodwill, Salvation Army, local thrift store, whatever, wherever it is, consignment store. So have a trash box. So when I'm talking about a trash box, I'm saying going into your kid's room and having 4 piles. So always keep a donation box somewhere. But this is going into your kid's room, have 4 piles. The donate, the trash, the keep, and the maybe later. Donate can go right into that bin of wherever you're gonna take it. Trash, we always find things that are like this little scrap of paper the kids wrote on, that plastic bag that never got thrown away, that whatever it is. Get rid of those things right away. And if you have something right there, something big enough, a bag, if you use a black trash bag when you're cleaning out your kids' rooms, they won't see the stuff that they suddenly think is their favorite toy that they haven't touched in a year. And get it right out to the trash. A keep pile of this is going back in the drawer. This is going to the kitchen, wherever it is, a keep pile. And then a maybe later of, I don't have time to consider this item right now. Maybe it's an old yearbook or an old magazine or something that is clothes that are too big that you're thinking maybe I'll keep that for the next child or whatever. Put it in the maybe later box and just be able to set that to the side when you're done with your 5 minutes. If you have those things available, your 5 or 10 minutes will go a lot faster because you can just, at the end of the time, donate box goes to the side, your maybe later box goes to the side, your keep stuff just goes to their homes, and your trash pile can get thrown right in the trash. And also, the last one to help minimize household chaos is to give your kids chores. And this goes back to the lowering expectations. But your kids live in the house with you and they need to find ways to be productive in their time. Especially as a homeschool mom, my kids are here all the time. And if I just worked circles around them while I let them sit and play, it would add a lot of frustration to my day and would cause me to feel like they're a burden because they live here too and they can work in the household. That work doesn't mean they work without me. So right now I'm sitting here doing this video. I have an older daughter who's in charge of cooking the pasta for supper. I did other supper prep, so it's not a huge deal for her to do that. And the other kids are sitting and watching a show while I do this video for you guys. I don't regularly sit on the couch and watch them do the work around me. We regularly do work together. So we have a list of after meal chores. So everybody has a chore to do after the meal. It makes cleanup go really easy. And nobody's saying, oh, but why are they playing while I'm out here? I mean, sometimes they say that because a child is being disobedient, not doing their chore, or they got done faster than the other child. Make them age appropriate chores. So like for right now, after meals, we have 2 older kids, 13 and 16. One of them will wash dishes while the other puts food away from the meal. It depends on the meal. I have another daughter who puts away the dishes from the previous meal that are dry. We don't dry our dishes in between, so she puts away the now dry dishes, puts them in the cabinet. She's 8. My 11-year-old son sweeps and mops. My 6-year-old son cleans off the table, which I have everybody take their own dishes, like personal dishes, their plate and spoon and stuff, to the sink. So he's just got to take maybe any food that's left over, put it on the counter for the other person putting food away. Maybe he's got paper towels to throw away, that type of thing. And then he washes the table. The 4-year-old is given a rag to wipe down the chairs. You know, if you have kids, you eat rice, it goes everywhere. So he wipes down the chairs and everything so that it can get to the floor so that the other person can sweep it up. And then the 2-year-old helps me with whatever chore I give him after a meal. I usually kind of walk out of the room with him and we're doing a different chore, maybe picking up toys or something. But everybody has a job. Everyone's working at the same time. So when we're done with the chore, everybody can enjoy their time together now, all together. So giving kids chores that are age appropriate, but allowing them to be part of the work, allowing them to feel productive in the family, but also helping them realize that they're part of this unit and that they matter. That it's not just everyone fend for themselves. It's we all work together. Like in the Bible where it talks about the many members and the eye can't say to the foot, I don't need you. No, we all need each other. And so making sure that they feel that they are part of that family unit. So that's my encouragement for today. Thank you for joining me on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. And we will come back next time with another episode of this Overwhelmed Mama series.